Wait, that's insane. What? You can delete content.
In the wake of your power, something has arisen. Dark sentinels, hungry for a share. But these cruel constructs can be harnessed. Take them, bind them to your will. Test and tinker, combine and reconfigure.
Oh,
And together,
I had a synthesis feeling. Maybe.
Some sentinels are powerful. Others are dangerous. But in a world with shifting stars,
20 Atlas keystones.
new threats, and valuable treasures, you will need them. The sentinels await your command.
All right. I have to say, a shorter trailer than usual. Hi, welcome to this late intro, and thanks for watching, by the way. Let's jump to Daniel, reacting to all the other stuff they're gonna show us now. But the music is there, the presentation is there.
I'm sure you have a lot of questions, so let's get started with a full explanation of the upcoming Sentinel Challenge League.
It feels like what I said.
Sentinels are ancient constructs that have been unearthed across Rayclast. In this league, you will collect these Sentinels and attempt to harness their great power. But this symbiosis is not without risks. Once deployed, a Sentinel follows you, watching and waiting for you to enter combat. As you encounter enemies, the Sentinel will fire a beam that doesn't damage the enemy, but rather empowers them. This not only amplifies the difficulty of the foe, but also the rewards that it yields. There are three classes of Sentinels that you will find as you kill monsters in this league. Stalker Sentinels will follow you for around 30 seconds, empowering dozens of monsters before they dissipate. This is like a build-your-own breach or delirium effect, because you control what monsters you're fighting when you deploy the Sentinel, and through various means that we'll describe shortly, you're also in control of how much the monsters are empowered.
Okay.
In contrast to Stalker Sentinels, Pandemonium Sentinels are designed for mass area of effect, and typically only fire one shot. But this shot really counts, chaining between monsters to affect an entire screen full of foes at once.
Okay.
This class of Sentinel can be very dangerous because it empowers so many enemies at one time.
And the yellow is for bosses.
The final class, Apex Sentinels, can only empower rare or unique enemies.
Okay.
They fire fewer shots but have a much larger impact on difficulty and reward. You start with a single slot to equip a Stalker Sentinel, but as you play through the league, you can eventually unlock 2 more Sentinel slots so that you can have 1 Sentinel of each class equipped at a time.
I like it.
Each class of Sentinel can be deployed only once per area that you play. You'll quickly develop various strategies for when each class of Sentinel is best used. For example, saving your Pandemonium Sentinel for when you're surrounded by monsters, or using your Apex Sentinel on the map boss or league content that spawns several rare monsters.
Beyond.
With a full loadout of Sentinels equipped, in every map you'll get to empower bosses of your choice, juice up an entire screen at once with a button press, and choose the part of the map where it's best to empower a series of dozens of monsters. Sentinels cannot be damaged by monsters in combat, but do gradually deplete their internal power supply each time you use them. They can be found as you play and are incompatible with traditional Rayclastian crafting techniques. However, new Sentinels with different properties can be assembled from the depleted husks of others that you have used until their internal power supplies ran out. You can also occasionally find rare Sentinels that have more than 2 mods on them. These are generally quite a lot more powerful than normal or magic Sentinels if you find the right combination of mods.
Tailwind for 10 seconds. Sweet.
The Sentinels you find as you explore Rayclast will become more powerful. Some particularly powerful ones with special properties can only come from the process of assembling new Sentinels from depleted ones.
The fuck is aggro radius? They're just...
While the Sentinels you find generally get better and better as you play through the league, you can also upgrade the behavior and properties of Sentinels through your Sentinel controller. The Sentinel controller is like a runic circuit board. It's what powers your Sentinels and allows you to customize them. There are specific nodes for each of the 3 types of Sentinel, so you can customize the properties and behavior of all of them, or potentially focus on your favorite base types. As you play through the league and kill more and more enemies affected by your Sentinels, your controller will gain power. You start with 4 units, which is enough to power your first Sentinel slot and your first runic node. By the end game, you are able to work up to 30 power units, which is enough for almost half of the controller to be powered at once.
But not everything.
So how do you choose which runic nodes to power?
So they learn from
You
Scourge.
do this by connecting them together with filaments. Power flows from the top of the circuit through the filaments until it is all in use by the nodes you have connected. You can set up filaments in advance and they'll automatically be used as more power becomes available. As you use Sentinels in combat across a number of maps, they eventually run out of charge and will become depleted. But they don't need to be thrown away when this occurs. You can find power cores that let you assemble a new Sentinel with a full charge. This process disassembles 2 existing Sentinels and creates a hybrid of the 2, with their properties combined together. Right-clicking a power core opens up an assembly screen. If you insert 2 Sentinels,
That's a synthesis
and click the
screen.
assemble button,
That reminded me a little bit of it.
fully charged one will be created.
But it's just a combination. Beautiful animation, though. Ooh, and it even shows the
This
modifiers
process is a
lighting
complex
up.
and unpredictable one that can either inherit properties from the input Sentinels
Beautiful.
or potentially produce new ones that weren't based on either of them. For example, the base type of the Sentinel could either be the left input Sentinel, the right input Sentinel, or an entirely new one that can't spawn naturally and can only come from this process.
So this has a little bit of unpredictably like
The same
synthesis.
applies to its modifiers.
You don't exactly
you generally
know.
get a mix of modifiers from
Maybe.
the 2 input Sentinels, but sometimes they have their tiers upgraded or entirely new mods added, occasionally including ones that are exclusive to the assembly process. The end result is that you're usually getting Sentinels that are similar in function to the depleted ones you have combined, but occasionally mutate in new ways, producing results that unlock more power and possibilities.
Chance for rewards to be doubled.
The best Sentinels in the game will come from lucky combinations of depleted Sentinels that have just the right mods.
Of course.
It's
yeah.
also possible to assemble 2 Sentinels directly into one of the many valuable unique Sentinels.
Oh! Hello. Love it. 16 to 20.
Specialized power cores exist,
Currency
which
rewards.
influence the assembly process to greatly increase the chances of various interesting outcomes occurring. They don't guarantee anything, but absolutely worth considering if you're trying to hit unlikely assembly results.
Okay.
You may want to accumulate a small collection of depleted Sentinels so that you have options to assemble together. That's where the Sentinel Locker comes in. It's a free object that you can place in your hideout that allows you to store stacks of each of the Sentinel currency items, as well as a tab full of each of the 3 categories of Sentinel.
Good.
You can also store Sentinels in regular stash tabs, and they can be freely traded with other players.
It's pretty good.
This unique Sentinel, the Hollow-Eyed Skull, is basically a headhunter in Sentinel form.
Oh, it's just that. That's good. Cool.
There are also a set of unique Sentinels. So that's Sentinel in a nutshell. It's a combat league that gives you heaps of control over the exact risk and reward you encounter. It stacks with other combat-enhancing league mechanics, juices your endgame bosses beyond any kind of reasonable difficulty, lets you play with temporary headhunters, and might even let a few players assemble some pretty insane rare items if they're lucky. We're very much looking forward to seeing your stories after you've had a chance to play with it next week.
A lot of experimental things.
In addition to the Sentinel Challenge League, this expansion further improves on the new endgame introduced in Siege of the Atlas.
But yes,
Its
it
Atlas-wide
seems faster
passive
than
tree
Arch
and
Nemesis.
pinnacle boss fights. The new endgame was designed to give you ultimate control over what kind of content you want to play and how difficult and rewarding you want it to be. With the Sentinel expansion, we are doubling down on what makes this new endgame the best one that Path of Exile has ever had. This expansion introduces 20 powerful Keystone passives to the Atlas tree. As you know from the regular passive skill tree, Keystone passives are usually dramatic and build-changing, with both upsides and potential downsides. Each Keystone can completely change the way you play Path of Exile's endgame, and we have designed Keystone passives for many different playstyles and situations.
Poggers.
The second big change is that we have introduced these clusters of passives that grant you even more control over what endgame content you encounter. As you know, you can encounter many different types of past league content randomly within maps. These new passives allow you to prevent content you don't enjoy from appearing randomly, or simultaneously causing other content to spawn at a higher rate.
Wait, that's fucking
Aside from the obvious
insane.
convenience of only encountering the past league mechanics that you choose,
I can literally
the system is
say
great for target farming
what?
specific content that you have juiced on your Atlas tree.
That is insane. You can
Thirdly,
delete
we've created
content
incredibly difficult and rewarding Uber versions
that increases the
of 7
chance of
pinnacle boss
everything
fights,
else.
Which can be 6 new keystones create Uber versions of Path of Exile's pinnacle boss fights.
Poggers.
Benarius, Cyrus, the Maven, the Searing Exarch, the Eater of Worlds, and the Shaper and Uber Elder, who I guess is now called the Uber Elder. Allocating one of these keystones on your Atlas passive tree ramps up the corresponding boss fights so that it is extremely difficult. Like, really hard. Harder than saying goodbye to Zana hard.
No! Too soon.
These keystones if your character is extremely powerful and you know you can handle the challenge. In general, the encounter's rules are modified to be far more punitive and difficult. In return, though, you can earn some very enticing rewards. Each of the Uber fights has an additional high chance reward and a chance of getting a very, very rare chase reward. For example, the Uber Maven guarantees an elevated sextant if you're able to complete the encounter. Very rarely, though, you may be able to earn an awakened exceptional support gem as well, such as Empower, Enlighten, or Enhance. These keystones unlock crazy battles that will challenge
This is
the most
fine.
aspiring players
This
who are
is-
deep in Path of Exile's
it's
endgame.
fine.
You'll notice that our last endgame expansion was just 3 months ago, and we're already extending the endgame even further. This is our plan for every expansion leading up to the release of Path of Exile 2. Rather than having a much bigger annual expansion, we plan to add as many endgame improvements into each quarterly expansion as we can, alongside its new challenge league, so that there are new challenges to overcome every time you come back to Path of Exile.
That's good.
What we need is a new set of mods that are highly impactful in combat, keyworded with 1 to 2 colored words that are easy to read at a glance, and capable of producing dangerous combinations. This is exactly what we designed the Arch Nemesis mods to be, a replacement for the core monster mod pool.
That didn't work though.
From 3.18 onwards, all previous monster mods have been replaced by Arch Nemesis mods. No other part of the Arch Nemesis League has been retained, so there's no more inventory or recipe management. Magic monsters have 1 Arch Nemesis mod, shared across their pack, and rare monsters typically have 2 mods. However, it's possible to encounter rare monsters with 3 or even 4 Arch Nemesis mods on them. Combinations of multiple synergistic mods can create quite interesting situations in combat. For example, if you encounter a monster with both Storm Strider and Ice Prison,
You're
the Ice
dead.
Prison may block you off so that you are more likely to run into the lightning mirages from the Storm Strider mod. We've done a balance pass over the Arch Nemesis mods before making them core. So, thanks for joining us and checking out today's reveals. We can't wait to see you in Rayclast on May 13th.
As you see, I have slept. It is 2 in the morning. With 2, I mean PM. Now, with an open mind and coffee in my system, what do I think about Sentinel and or 3.18? Let's quickly go through it. So, first of all, shortcuts for Sentinels. I don't know how to activate them yet. I don't know how they're gonna do it. If it's one shortcut and it works its way from the top Sentinel, you know, from the inventory screen you have now, from top Sentinel bottom, I don't know how this is gonna work. This could feel a little bit weird, you know, but I'm pretty sure they can figure something out, or maybe they have already figured something out, and just, they have an energy bar. The Sentinels have an energy bar, and how many times you can use it. I feel like that's just a good idea, so you don't need to play around with it every single map, you know, just going out of the map, having to equip your Sentinels or whatever, going in, using those Sentinels, going out, it gets very annoying, you know, so I'm really happy about that. It might be also slightly preventing micromanagement, which I really appreciate, even though this whole league seems very micromanagey, if that is a word, but we'll see when we play it, right? Then you also have different bases for the Sentinels, you know, hashtag just PoE things. You can't just have 3 bases of something. No, you need to show the player 3 at the beginning, then add 6 more, and then add 40 others if you combine them, you know, in some weird way. Perfect. Memes aside, it's just about variety, and I think that's a good thing. Depleted Sentinels are left in the extra slot next to your inventory, so I actually wrote that down because I was scared when the Sentinel depletes, it is actually being dragged in your inventory. That is not the case. So apparently it stays in your extra slot next to your inventory screen now, which they have added another thing to the inventory screen now. Kind of interesting to see. I feel like that's just good because it doesn't clutter the inventory. The thing is though, how do you pick up new Sentinels from the ground? Because there were caches on the ground you can find. I feel like this it's gonna look similar to Harvest, right? Where you go next to and you click the cache or the cache, and you know the seeds drop out. It's just gonna be now some Sentinel cache or whatever. Yeah, if you pick up Sentinels, I'm pretty sure it's gonna, you know, be in your inventory. And they're 2x2. They're pretty big. So, you know, we gotta deal with that. There are two different ways now, I guess, in this league to combine items or things. First of all, it's the Sentinels, where you can just put two Sentinels in and combine them and assemble a stronger or bigger or different Sentinel. So out of two scraps, so out of two depleted ones, you create one that is full. Kind of cool idea, right? About the whole different bases, create different things, blah, blah, blah. And then they also kind of brought a little bit the synthesis thing back. At least I see it as the natural evolution of allowing the player to put in items, recombine them, because the thing is called a recombinator, I think it's called, and you just assemble a new rare item with the mods from the items and maybe something new, something like this. Apparently there are some pretty crazy things. I haven't really seen that. I might have skipped over it, but, you know, it's just all about exploration, and I feel like it's gonna be fun to throw in, I don't know, just you find tier 1 stuff on the ground, which I usually have hidden on my filter. Now I will definitely show it. Just grab that, throw it in a tab, and if I have, oh, there's like 2 tier 1 armors I have, body armors. Yeah, just throw them in the recombinator, right? It's just free, I think it's free. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's just throw it in, see what happens, right? I feel like that's a good idea. Now to the Atlas passive tree. Blocking content is just insane. That is just, I think, it's just insane that you can say in Path of Exile now, I do not want to see this content. That just seems insane to me. Is it good? I think time will tell. It's great for the people that really want to only do certain things. I do not know if it's gonna be good for player retention. I don't know. I really don't know. So there was also the Singular Focus Atlas Keystone, because we have 20 new keystones. It's just absolutely the best, I feel like. I think that's gonna be a must take if you have a certain amount of favorite maps, I think. Because if I can get a basic currency item, which I generally want, probably, and not a map I don't want, that's just the best of both worlds. So instead of giving me a map I don't care about, which I will have to pick up, or have to pick up to then maybe transform in something else, you know, with like the Harbinger currency items, whatever they're called, I can just pick up the currency item and just not see the map drop. I feel like that's just good. It's, you know, less micromanagement, I guess, in the map, less picking up, less RSI problems. I'm all for that. New Uber enemies seem like a perfect thing, actually, for, yeah, just the insane people like Scissorin and Steel Mage, to be honest. Yeah, I guess if you really enjoy boss fights and you're a top player, you just probably are like, perfect, thank you, more content. It's kind of insane how they're already adding an Uber version of Eater of Worlds and Searing Exile. Literal bosses that came out 3 months ago. They're like, F it, let's just make Uber versions. I don't know if they're just gonna have higher damage and more life. If they do, I think that's gonna be, you know, it's easy to create that content. I don't know how it holds up, you know, long term. But I'm too Pepega to understand most of the unique stuff shown. The one thing I really just liked is actually Steel Mage's unique. It is both easily understandable and very powerful in certain situations, or maybe with certain positions of keystones. That's just perfect. I love it. It's amazing. Yeah, God bless, you know. Praise Steel Mage, everyone. So this next point is quite a lot. So Path of Exile, I've been playing for Path of Exile for a long time, and there's always like this tiny voice in my head of, when could this end, you know? When could this game kind of maybe kill itself or do things the wrong way, which will then drive people away? I don't think it's this part, but I really hope they tested this properly. I'm talking about the Bloodlines and Nemesis modifiers, which, by the way, I don't know off the top of my head, are going away. And now we have arch nemesis modifiers on rare mobs. I think this is the biggest change to how you maybe interact with a map since a long time. And if you have played arch nemesis and have created some of these abominations, the shit's scary. And with scary, I mean literally impossible sometimes to kill these rare mobs, either through a weird combination of things, or they literally one-shot you if you get too close. I don't want this in my map. I'm dead serious. I will not go I won't go more into detail here, because I will have a Siege of the Atlas and Arch Nemesis review coming up very soon, probably next week, where I go into detail why I don't like Arch Nemesis and or Arch Nemesis-like content. Go check out my review in a week. Also, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Is this an Headhunter nerf? I feel like it is. I really feel like it is, but we'll see about that. Last but not least, the MTX, the microtransactions, the skins, whatever you want to call them, they just look amazing. The new supported packs truly are a step above everything they've ever done in terms of microtransactions, and I feel like that's just good, because you pay the same amount of price that you did before for just better MTX, for better microtransactions that change with how you play the game or what type of content you play the game. I love that. I love this so much. For example, the hoodie thing, or the cape, or whatever it's called, where it lights up the more elemental damage you have of each, right? So you have higher fire damage, then it lights up with more fire. So it's just so good. I love this. I love this so much. The portal with the hands that change after, I think, from Act 5 to Act 6, and then after the acts, and then depending on the map tiers you run. That's amazing. That's so cool. The goddamn map device that is the flower that lights up the higher map tier I think you run. Yes, just please, more like this. Thank you so much for watching my reveal, my reaction. And if you want to see the raw reaction, the unedited one, it is on Twitch. Link down below in the description, as well as my reaction to the Q&A will also be. Just check the links in the description, you know where to find this stuff. Also, leave me a comment. Are you excited for Sentinel? Are you maybe excited for the Arch Nemesis modifiers on the rare mobs, which I have no idea why you would be? Or are you maybe excited for the recombinator of creating items? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you next Friday live when the league starts. I will be streaming it on Friday. I will be going to bed, and I will continue streaming on Saturday. And of course, we will have a Sunday stream as usual with Minecraft. Gonna be a long weekend next week, so hope to see you there. And I will see you maybe also in the next video, which will be the Siege of the Atlas and Arch Nemesis League review. Alright, I'm gonna go now. Bye-bye.